Sai Ram. Sai Ram Auntie. Sai Ram Kalyani.
Sai Ram.
I didn't listen to the video of last week's session, so I think one of you can give summary, or we can just continue on, if it's okay.
I think we were talking about this is the wrong thing. We were discussing about how Dhyana Yoga needs the support of Karma Yoga. So Krishna says, first Karma Yoga I taught you. And according to Dhyana Yoga, we were thinking like, concentration, contemplation, and then samadhi. That's how we discussed about dhyana. What Swami means here is about these 3 steps of the dhyana. Or if it is different, please correct us. And Bhagawan is saying here that those who are idling all the time, I don't have any affection for them. And those who give up all the ritual fire activity, they go on eating and sleeping, and then, I am not for that. And Dhyana Yoga is possible only at the base of this Nishkama Karma. The connection between Dhyana Yoga and Nishkama Karma we were discussing. I think if you can throw some light on it. Arun?
Yeah, Sai Ram, thank you. Is it? I think it's Kalyani. It's the same slide, is it, which we discussed?
Yes, this one we discussed last time.
Why don't we read it again once more, and then we'll go on?
Yes. Well, superior to both of those is Dhyana Yoga. I shall tell you why. Dhyana Yoga needs the support of Karma Yoga, and so Karma Yoga was first taught to you. Those who renounce the fruits while actively engaged in karma are very, very dear to me. They are the true sannyasins, the real renouncers. I have no affection for those who give up the ritual fire and desist from all activity except eating, sleeping, and craving for sensory pleasures, and behave like Kumbhakarna's kinsmen, idling and wasting their time. I am unapproachably far from idlers. He who has not renounced the pursuit of wishes can never become a yogi, however busy he may be in sadhana. Only he who is careful not to get entangled in the senses and who is unattached to the consequences of his deed can become a sarva sangha parityagi, renouncer of all attachments. Dhyana yoga is possible only on the basis of this nishkama karma. If the mind is not under control and amenable to one's orders, it can become one's greatest foe. So live in solitude so that you can master the senses. A horse without reins, a bull unused to the yoke, and a sadhaka whose senses are not mastered are all like a river without water. Such sadhana is a waste.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kalyani. I think some of the translation may not be very accurate, Auntie. I don't know. Swami says, I have no affection for those who give up the ritual fire and desist from all activity. What exactly is the whole activity I should read?
In Telugu, Agnulani Vadali Panipata.
Auntie, can you tell me the page?
83.
Okay, thank you.
Second paragraph.
Yes.
అగ్నులను వదలి పనిపాటలను మాని పరమ సోమరుల వలె తిని నిద్రించి ఇంద్రియ విషయములను ఆశించుచు కుంభకర్ణుని సోదరులైన వారు నాకేనాటికి ప్రియులు కారు. That's what Swami is saying.
Thank you. Thank you.
You are asking about which one? Which exactly?
No. It's all activities. It's Pannulu Swami is telling. No, Swami is not telling karmas.
పనిపాటలను మాని.
I see. Panipatlu. It's all activities.
All Panipatlu.
I think maybe I will just I will just share my take on this. See, I think one of the problem with sadhana is, see, there are three paths: karma yoga, in this case, upasana or dhyana yoga, and then Swami goes into jnana yoga. So generally, people who consider themselves they are jnana yogis, they think they don't have to do physical rituals. I think that's what Swami is pointing out. Because what happens is they think, I'm in the Jnana Marga, I don't need to do all these rituals, activities which are prescribed, what is prescribed in the Karma Kanda. I think what people don't realize it is that the body, mind, and the buddhi, all of them should be engaged in sadhana. So the thing is, you cannot say, I'm not going to do sadhana at the physical level. I'm not going to do sadhana at the mental level. I'm only going to do sadhana at the, intellectual level. Sometimes people think I'm doing meditation, so I'm not going to do physical sadhana. But the reality is we all exist as a physical entity, as a mental entity, as an intellectual entity. So the sadhana has to be done in all three levels. And that's what Swami is saying. Because the reality is, even those who consider themselves jnanis, they are living like normal human beings. They also eat, they also like certain things. So Swami is calling them kumbhakarnas. With the physical level, they don't do any sadhana and they think they are above that and beyond that. But they are doing meditation or they are reading some jnana books and they are into the jnana marga. I think Swami is talking about them. Because that Swami says it's you can't pick and choose in which plane of existence you live. And whereas one plane is in the world, as long as we have not given up eating and sleeping, we should be doing physically the sadhana which is prescribed by the Vedas. That's why Swami is talking about the fire, people who, fire rituals, the Agnihotris. So again, Swami is going to Karma Kanda. Whatever the Vedas prescribed at the physical level as rituals have to be followed. Because one cannot say, can be given up. It can be given up when we give up everything related to the body. It's my understanding. That's what I understand.
So activity is very, very necessary for even though they are doing the meditation. So physical activity, mental activity, as well as other activities are very, very, very important, even though they are supposed to be doing meditation and meditators rather.
Yes.
That's what Swami is saying here.
So I think Krishna said that and Swami is repeating it.
Yeah.
So that's what I had taken from here. I will open it up for others if anyone has something to say. Yes, Brother Dasan, go ahead.
To Sairam, brother. The reason, in my understanding, is the karma yoga is very important in order to control the mind. For an example, when we do any service at the Sai Center or any spiritual place anywhere, if we are not expecting the fruits, then your mind will get purified. Your mind will calm. When the mind is calm, that's the only way. When you do this, that's what Swami always, they don't spend any money in, most of the time, they don't spend any money in that, even in the Puttaparthi, most of the services. So Swami wants to make us to do the service. then you are not going to differentiate the people. Then your mind is always calm. That will lead to you do the royal path of, dhyana to get the self-realization. Even the people even the person who got the, the people in heaven, they like to come back to the earth to do the karma yoga in order to merge with the God. So karma yoga is very, very important in order to control the mind. That is my understanding, Brother Sai Ram.
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you.
Sai Ram, I just wanted that line where Swami is saying, I have no affection for those who give up the ritual fire. In Telugu, that ritual fire comes as what, Auntie?
In Telugu, Swami is saying, Agnulanu vadali. Ante kani Agnulanu vadali. Agnul unte fire. వదలి పనిపాట్లను మాని పరమ సోమరులై తిరిగి నిద్రించి ఇంద్రియ విషయములు నాశించుచు కుంభకర్ణుని సోదరులైన వారు నాకేటికి ప్రియులు కారు. సో స్వామి is అగ్నులను వదని say the is it about the fire ritual? Swami is who give up the ritual fire.
Okay, Auntie, thank you. Yeah, I just wanted, because the Agnulanu, whether it's meaning that ritual fire, that was my question. Yeah.
Agnulanu vadali. Here, the Swami means only ritual fire or something else. There are different yagnas also now which we do.
Yeah, I'm just...
So, Sai Ram, brother, can we take it like this? Any spiritual person, if they have to do any spiritual sadhana, just like jhana and everything, even chanting mantra, they have to do that. That is coming under karma. Just like sleeping, that means that person can think that if I sleep, I'm not doing any karma, then I can reach the God. No, that cannot be done like that. So you have to do your duty. Whatever the person's assigned, for jnanis, they have to do whatever the rituals. For us, for me, whatever the duty I supposed to do, I have to do it without any expectation, with a love. That is my understanding, brother.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, I think it's, we can refer to the Swami's, after all, talking about, I think, chapter 4 or 5. I'll take a look at it and come back later about the Agnulu.
I think there are 12 yagnas which Swami Krishna says about, Dravya yagna, Tapo yagna, Gnana yagna, and Swadhyaya yagna, Pranayama yagna, all those 12 yagnas which he enumerates in 4th chapter.
Yes.
Here, does it apply to that, those things?
I think so. Krishna, I'll let you take a look at the chapter 4 or 5 again.
4. I can give you the names of those yagnas if you want. Can I give you the names?
So, I think from 26, 25, 26 in chapter 4.
Yeah, you get that.
Various
yagnas.
Yes. Because some yogis perform. So it is only it's a continuation of that, where, he's already listing all the actions, karma, the karma prescribed. He's going through and saying these are yogis who perform all these, which is what you are referring to, no, Auntie?
I think that it's not the actual ritual fire which Swami is asking. Is has to do, no?
Yeah, so Agnulanu means it's external as well as internal, and his various yajnas he's listing there. And in a couple of places he's saying that, I think in chapter verse 27, is Sarvani Indriya Karmani, Prana Karmani Chapare, Atma Samya Yoga, Atma Samya Mayog Gagnav. So there also he's telling the Agni is referred in many places in different planes. So I think all of them are covered by Swami when he says Agnulu.
Agnulu.
Yeah. Man-Agni, Prana-Agni, and also the physical Agni. So all of them are the Agnihotris. Everything is considered Agni where we offer something to the Lord.
Yeah, correct. Sarvan Indriya Karmani, Prana Karmani Chapare, Atma Sanyoga Agnav, Juhvati Ganipite. So Agnulunte, I think Swami is referring.
Swami is referring to that. He has used plural.
Plural. Agnulu.
The fires. So that means Swami is saying all these are actions. Sadhana, Karma Yoga is actually actions which sacrifice what is not right into the fire of wisdom or fire, even the physical fire.
Yeah.
That's why, I think he calls it a ritual fire. Ritual fire actually symbolizes what we do internally also, you see.
Exactly.
And, so there is, he's saying the world is not for the non-sacrificer like that, Yajnasya, he is using the word in verse 31. Ayam lokosya yajnasya. So he's talking about yajnas there. And then you are saying the various yajnas he lists.
List of the whole 12 yajnas.
So then he is also in verse 37, he says, as the blazing fire reduces fuel to ashes, so does the fire of knowledge reduce all karma to ashes. Yataidamsi samid. Yes, like that.
Basmasat krute kukrute Arjuna, Danagni sarvakarmani, Basmasat krute tata.
Yeah. So so all this is covered by Swami in the word Agnulu is what I understand. Because he's using the plural fires.
Yeah.
Okay, but in translation it just says few fires. But actually Swami has used the word Agnulu, which means fires. So he's listed so many fires. That's all in chapter 3.
Four.
Chapter 4. Actually, we have to really study this along with Bhagavad Gita, because Swami is explaining what is in the Bhagavad Gita. So as we remember that Swami in some places he's even quoting the sloka numbers, verses. So that he expects us to go and study them. Because Swami can again repeat same things for us. So he has already stated, he's just explaining.
Yeah, correct. So one can easily mistake this ritual fire as this, that Havan, we can easily mistake for it. But thanks for explaining it, Sai Satish and then Arun.
Yes, Sai Satish asked the question.
Asked the question. Thank you, Simon.
Thanks, Andy. Thanks, Anna. And Swami also says that yajna krit, yajna prit, yajna sadhaka, some. I'm just trying to see if does that also.
This Agnulu covers all the type of sacrifices which Krishna has said in the 4th chapter.
Exactly.
It covers the whole thing.
Okay. Yeah.
Agnulu.
Because the yajna is actually nothing but offering our, any desires into the fire of something. That's ultimately the way Swami has explained. What we sacrifice is the desire. And I think that's the way. If everyone is okay, maybe we will move on.
Just one question. So Swami has said in the sentence, if you have not renounced the pursuit of wishes, you can never become a yogi, however busy you may be in sadhana. And then later also Swami says, if the mind is not under control, and you do not have your senses in control, then such sadhana is a waste. So how do we ensure that the sadhana we are doing is not going to waste?
Good question. I will open it up for others to comment. So I think the question is, how do we, I think maybe I will rephrase the question, Kalyani, because how do we know that we have not mastered the senses? Because
I think I know that part. I feel like I haven't mastered the senses and I still have wishes. So does that mean all my sadhana that I'm trying to do is going to waste?
Yeah, I think the way Swami explains it is, if you're traveling in a boat, if you have a leak, you're bound to someday drown. Okay, that's a reality. So sometimes what happens is sadhana can take you midstream, but if the holes if one hole is enough to the water to get in and you drown, because the world will get into you slowly, and if that is not plugged, the leak is not plugged, then we are bound to perish. So that means the effort in any sadhana does not help if we have not plugged all the leaks. Each sensory organ is considered a hole through which the world enters us. And that will drown. I think that's my understanding. I will ask others to share any thought they have.
That see that we are pursue something, but like if we don't really focus on it, and then our mind is going everywhere, we can achieve what we want. So we have to very straightforward, but we have to avoid. We have to control our senses to actually in the spiritual path. We have to have a sense control and mind control. Otherwise, we can't achieve what we want. I think that's how I understood. Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah, Sairam, I thought I'd just add, so I think if we are doing sadhana with that expectation, no doubt we are doing for a result, but I think every time we get into doing sadhana, we have our own expectations of what the sadhana gives us. And so even as we do it day on day, there comes a point where we feel that, oh, am I doing the right thing? And if I'm doing this, why I'm not getting it? And that kind of a expectation. So I think when Swami is saying only he who's careful not to get entangled in the senses, so from that part of, or in the pursuit of wishes, can never become a yogi. So that part of expectation, that part of like the desire thing, that this should be the outcome of sadhana, so that if that outcome is taken out, then we come out of it, kind of a scenario. So if we do not, we do sadhana for the sake of sadhana. That's about it. We don't expect something to come out of the sadhana which will start salvaging, though of course the mind wants to look at it in that direction. So possibly that removal of that expectation could help be at the sadhana. So we just say that we spend this time with Swami and take that sadhana up, and we just commit that time every day, and rest the onus is on Swami to take us along, so that we don't start feeling the burden of doing the sadhana or expecting some outcome of it. And maybe with regard to that becoming a waste, it's more from the sense that because of the expectations, I think it becomes like any other activity. It doesn't become sadhana. It's like we do something, we expect something out of it. So it just becomes like any other activity. So just wanted to say that. Thank you, Sarah.
Yes, Brother Dasan, please go ahead.
Yes, brother. So when we do any sadhana, that we know that we have to renounce everything. When your mind is calm, during the pleasure or pain, in that kind of situation, if you arrive, that means you are going towards the inside. You're merging with the Atma, you're experiencing the Atma, and your sensual activities is there, but you are not craving for anything. Even though if you're not craving anything, if you are not so excited, you're always calm, even after doing all the work. In that mean, that is my experience too. That is my understanding too. Thank you, Sai Ram, brother.
Thank you very much, brother. I think, there's one sentence Swami has used, we have not discussed, it looks like. So live in solitude so that you can master the senses.
Even if we live in solitude, the mind does not stop working.
Senses we can master, but mind may not be.
Mind will chatter, go on chattering. The controlling of the mind is the most difficult job.
What does Swami say in Telugu for that line?
Which one better?
Live in solitude.
Swami is saying, Neevu jitrendriyudu kammu ekanta vasamu cheyamu. Controlling your senses, take that ekanta vasa.
That means live in solitude.
Live in solitude. Chittendriyamulanu vashaparuchukonumu.
Chittendriya.
Jitendriya.
That's the mind.
Mind.
Antakarana, Swami is covering. See, the reality is solitude over a period of time will dry out what is in the chitta.
No.
Because chitta is where the impressions are stored.
Vasana.
As long as the senses are active, the chitta gets its food. As they say, food for thought or food for chitta. So you dry that up so that the chitta does not get new impressions. So then we have to only work with old impressions. But the problem is if there are newer and newer impressions coming, that becomes a big challenge. This is one reason when we go to Puttaparthi or Prashantaridiyam, Swami used to be very, very strict to those rules. Do not interact with others.
Yeah.
Though everyone has come, there, sadhana, you should not socialize. Swami was very, very particular. I remember, there was one gentleman, his name is Vimal Nathan. He was an engineer who was responsible for construction of Trai. Mm-hmm. In one of his talks, he's telling, he and his wife have been living there for decades. And one neighbor apparently had a visitor, their daughter or someone had come. She had brought her baby. So apparently this person, 1 or 2 days, he just picked up the baby and he was playing with the baby, and Swami pulled him up. He said, you have given up your own children and you are here. Now, why are you acquiring interest on new children? To that extent, Swami was very, because the reality is, I was always, when I listened to that, I was reminded of that Rishi who saw a little deer. And, and he said, I had to look after that. And he had to take one entire life, to work out that interest, in a small deer.
Jadabharata?
Yes, yeah. So I was always reminded of that, so sometimes we think, oh, it's nothing, but spirituality is a very serious business. Is what I understand.
Mm.
So solitude is, Swami always gave a lot of importance. And of course, then we think how we are living in society, what to do. I think these are questions which come up. How can we be antisocial? But Swami would say, let others be social. If you are interested in spirituality, be antisocial. So
Sai Ram, brother, so one more thing, even that if we are crave for something and we have to understand what is our main goal, then just all the five senses going to, if you take the eye is looking at everything. That only the mind is the one going to decide. So what we can do is we can ignore that one. We started to ignore. Then eventually the five senses cannot do nothing. So it's all how we controlling the mind. We started to ignore everything, whatever we are not supposed to have, then eventually it will become a habit. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, brother.
So how do we balance that living in solitude while at the same time living in society? Because even my son, because of COVID and everything, like this year, whenever we take him to a park, he'll always run away from other children. So so now I'm trying to seek opportunities so that he can socialize and get.
He has become antisocial.
Yeah.
It's a good question, Kalyani. So maybe I will open it up for discussion. Others can share. How do we balance being in the society and still being in solitude?
Yeah.
Anyone?
Sai Ram, last week I think Brother Sai Satish were really harping on when we're talking about either solitude or anything, it's more at the mind level as well, that how we calm not only the body, the mind as well. So I guess this could be related to that. We can be in the society, but not only the physically solitude, but at the mind level as well. You have to be, at that level. Just throwing out there. Sorry.
Thank you very much, sister. Anyone else would like to share?
So, Sairam, brother. So my thing is, even if you are in the society, you have to be partake everything, but your mind's supposed to be with the God, and you have to check now and then. That's all, brother. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sai Satish.
No, I just wanted to sum that up as hands in the society and head in the forest.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, as much as possible, even while performing the action, if it is possible, that will be fantastic. If we can offer it to Bhagawan and maintain that level of witness status. But even if that is something that we are still learning, then I think last time, yes, sister, you had also mentioned about offering it to Bhagawan in beginning, noon, and end of the day. That kind of activities also, I think, it's as much as I think when we are in companionship of Bhagawan, we are in solitude. Because I think it's said that we can only be feel lonely, we can never be alone, because Swami is always with us, kind of a thing. So if as much as we keep in companionship with Swami, that is true solitude in the sense, because we have that time for Swami. So if we can do that as part of a activity, while doing the activity, that is something great, or at least in different times of the day or at the end of the day, we offer it to Swami. And yeah, spending that time with Bhagawan and offering the thing to him would help achieve that solitude.
Thank you very much, Sai Satish. Anyone else has any thoughts to share? I think, yeah, others have said, maybe I've just rephrased. I think it's all about zero footprint in the mind. We can mix with people, but as long as when we are not with them, if they don't reside in us, then we are residing with us ourselves. I think that's the ultimate test. We should be the world should not enter our heart. World should not enter our chittam. So we can mix with people, we can talk to people, but what they said, what they, everything should be actually given up wherever it was. And nothing should be retained in our chittam. That is, I think, part of dhyana. Dhyana is the process by which we take our mind back to that single point, which is God himself, as I think Sai Satish said. If we are thinking of God, then nothing else exists. So I think that is a practice. Meditation helps us in living in solitude. That's what Auntie was telling. Sometimes we are alone, but the mind is running everywhere. So it is not an ekantavasam. Ultimately, where the mind is will determine whether we are in ekantavasam or not. So we can mix with the world, but when we come, when we are not in others' company, we should be. Swami nicely says, among women, I am a woman. Among men, I am a man. Among children, I am a child. When I am alone, I am God. Means, when Swami is alone, he is not thinking about others. So I think when we are alone, we should not think about others. I think that is the test that the world has not entered us. So our mind is, I think meditation helps us. I think that's my understanding. And that's what others have also voiced. So it's a slightly different way of expressing the same thing. Head in the forest. Okay, I think we will go on. If everyone is okay, we can move on.
We can go to the next one.
So arise, Arjuna. Practice dhyana yoga, meditation. Resolve to master the senses through this yoga and follow it steadily, systematically, regularly, at a stated time and in a stated place, without changing them as the wind takes you. A regular system is essential for this yoga. Observe it strictly. Do not alter as fancy dictates. That will bring about dire consequences. For those who eat too much and get exhausted with the task of assimilating it, for those who eat less and suffer from exhaustion, for those who sleep too much or too little, for those who indulge in dhyana according to convenience, that is to say, those who do it for long hours one day because they have no other work, and do just token dhyana the next day because they have lots of work, for those who give free rein to the 6 inner enemies, kama, krodha, and the rest, for those who do not confer joy on parents, and especially on the mother, more than all these, for those who entertain doubt and have little faith in the Lord or in the Guru, whom they have chosen and installed in their hearts, Dhyana will yield no fruit at all. The mind of the yoga adept should be like the steady, upright, unshaken flame of the lamp, kept in the windless windowsill. Whenever the slightest sign of unsteadiness occurs, you should endeavor to curb the mind and not allow it to wander. Develop the consciousness that you are in all and the feeling of oneness that all is in you. Then you can take up and succeed in all the yogas. Then you are free from all distinctions such as I and others, or as Atma and Paramatma. The joy and grief of others will then become equally yours. You can then never harm others. Then all can be loved and adored in the awareness that they are Sarveshwara, the Lord. Lord Krishna declared that those who have attained this vision are really the supreme yogis.
Thank you very much. So Swami is going on to highlight the challenges or the hurdles in succeeding in meditation. So I'll just stop there and I'll open it up for anyone to discuss any of the points which Swami has brought to our attention.
At the dhyana level, it's so me. I do at my convenience. Like he's talking, this is Shivani Prasad here.
So, Sairam, brother.
Yes.
So, just for dhyana, in my understanding, is first discipline is important. So, what time you going to do the dhyana, how many minutes you're going to do that one. You cannot switch the time and the days or anything. If we have that, discipline is important, and you have to eat moderate food, and you cannot sleep long hours and everything. That is important for the dhyana. And once you during the dhyana time, you're focusing the mind towards the Atma. So once you started to experience that one, then eventually you will see everything, even all the living being and everything. You won't see any difference. Then if someone is having trouble and you feel like that is you having trouble, someone is happy, you feel like happy. So that kind of character you will gain. Thank you, Saira.
Sairam.
Actually, in Telugu,
Yes,
anukulamunu batti dhyanamunu acharinchu vaniki. That is expanded here, that who do it for long hours one day because they have no other work, and all these things are illustrated in that one small sentence. What Swami is saying, anukulamanu batti acharinchu vaniki. According to his convenience, that's it, Swami. But the explanation given in the brackets,
yes.
I mean, it's a nice explanation, of course. There's no doubt about it.
A question. Sorry, Sister Kalyani.
No, go ahead. Go ahead first.
Okay, I totally understand. Discipline is key, and that's what I have read in the past as well, Swamis, because that helps you to, of course, attain your goal. At the same time, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't it, rather than wasting time watching anything else, it's better to just sit down and meditate whenever you have time to? I'm just trying to think that meditation is, I remember, I don't know when did we read that? It's 24/7. Yes, it's a state of mind that you are in that balance, equilibrium state of mind. But I'm just thinking about the physical dhyana meditation state. yes, one is, yes, you should be very disciplined, what time where you sit and all of that. But in addition to that, whenever you have time, rather than wasting time in other things which are not adding value to your spiritual growth, just sit down in meditation or do dhyana.
Okay, sister has asked a question, so if you have free time, what do we do with it? Should we not do meditation? I think that's the question sister is asking. I will again open it up for others to comment. Saira. I think, sister, maybe because before others say, I think your question is because of the explanation of the word convenience. Swami has said, if you're doing dhyana according to your convenience, it's a problem. I think what really matters is if we are neglecting the regularity of doing sadhana, dhyana at a particular time, at a particular place, then it's a problem. That should not be changed according to convenience. So the thing is, if you do anything extra, I think you'll get bonus. That's the way I understand. I will ask others to comment.
But that time can be utilized for bringing the mind to a calmer state, so that one-pointedness can be achieved. At least the mind can dwell upon only one thing. It may not be called your meditation or anything, but to bring the mind into a particular calmer status, that can be used. That's all. You may not call it meditation, but yeah, that's what I understand. I don't.
So, and I have one more thing, brother. So sometime when we wake up every day, 6 o'clock, I'll do my puja, 7 o'clock mean. You have to do it 7 o'clock. One day 7 o'clock, one day 8 o'clock, one day 9 o'clock. That is not according to your convenience, you're doing the spiritual. So you have to do it in time. Anywhere, even temple, if 6 o'clock Arati mean, they have to do it 6 o'clock. One day 7 o'clock, one day 8 o'clock. That is not going to work around. Same thing in our lifestyle too. So when you have spare time, if you want to do the meditate, when you want to read book or anything you can do. Thank you, brother.
Thank you very much, brother.
And just adding to that, like Swami gives an example, like when the child is weaned away from going from mother's milk to like taking rice and so on. I think initially that bit of effort is needed in trying to get to the child at the regular time, though the child may initially refuse, but then it comes to a point where later on the child only wants rice, kind of a scenario. So this thing is to make the mind get used to that kind of activity. We keep the time, we keep the place, and we do it every day, day on day, as the common minimum program kind of a thing, that the basic thing that the mind needs to do. And once the mind does that and it becomes part of its schedule, it itself will want that. And then, like you were saying, sister, then any free time it wants to go and go into solitude or go into that meditation, however we want to call it. So if we do that basic bit of getting the mind into that kind of a schedule, then, and the mind truly begins to enjoy that, then it looks to having more of that, and it itself will now start guiding us. And for people, many times it becomes like you don't have to look at the clock and say it's 6 o'clock to do whether it's morning or evening meditation. You will start doing meditation and it'll be 6 o'clock. That kind of a routine comes into play.
Thank you very much, Sai Sathesh. I think it applies to all types of sadhana, not only meditation. the regularity, I think, is very, very important, because I think Brother Vardhan was telling, if we know what is important, we will give it the utmost attention. We will not let the other things distract us from that sadhana. Because if we are going to say this is negotiable, today we can ignore, then we have not given it sufficient importance. That's basic common, as Sai Satish put, that has to be maintained. I think in sadhana, there's nothing like more. So that's what I understand. Just what Brother Dasan also was saying. I think a question, may pop into, so I thought I will just address that. Swami is saying in the previous paragraph, Swami says solitude is important. But now here he says others' joys and sorrow will be yours. So how do we reconcile that? So that means solitude is out the door. So I will just, maybe good to just discuss it.
So, Sairam brother, so when you are in the wisdom, when you are in the jnana, that means you're going to see the divinity everywhere. So there won't be any difference. That is the reason you are coming to that level. Thank you. That is my opinion, brother.
Okay, brother. Anyone else?
Can you repeat the question, please?
So the Swami says the joy and grief of others will then become equally yours. So that means when we are in solitude, if somebody else is sad somewhere, grieving, then should we also be grieving?
Yeah.
Then how can it be solitude? Ekanta vasam. Is there a complication here? Is what Telugulo Swami, what Swami is saying, auntie? Maybe.
1 minute. Yogaభ్యాసము చేయువాని చిత్తము గాలి లేని స్థానం. That we have already done it, no?
So
ఇతరుల సుఖ దుఃఖములు తనివిగా భావించును.
Okay.
ఇతర హృదయములను బాధింప చేయక సర్వలను సర్వేశ్వర భావమును ప్రేమించును. ఇట్టి భావము గలవాడు యోగుల్లో శ్రేష్ఠుడు.
Anna, is it like noppi undi kani baada ledu? Is it that kind of a framework?
I think so.
But you feel the pain and you respond to that, but you don't suffer, kind of a thing. So it just gets the response at the body level, while the mind is established in the thing of that. Yeah.
Brother, can you repeat that one more time?
I think Sai Satish, you have to explain.
So, sister, once somebody had asked Bhagawan when Swami was, I think Swami had a fall that time and he had a fracture, and so they asked Swami, Swami, are you in a lot of pain? Then Swami responded by saying, Noppi undi kani baada ledu, meaning there is pain, but there is no suffering. So I was just trying to put that in the context of what Anna had raised about feeling everybody's joy and sorrow, but yet being in the realm of solitude. So while we feel everybody's pain, we don't start like suffering kind. We respond in the sense when we experience their joy or their pain, we respond to it, but we are established in the framework that everything is Swami's will, that everything, whatever is happening, is because of that ultimate divine will. So we are established in that, but we continue to respond to what is happening around us. Right.
So that pain doesn't linger for longer. You feel it for that moment, but okay, you don't suffer from that, right? Wonderful.
Yeah, like I was saying, like that zero footprint at the mind level. So you always do it at the body level. It doesn't create the ripples in the mind. And if it creates the ripples in the mind, that means we are back in the action-reaction kind of a scenario. So
I think, Brother Aruna, it ties back when we started this study circle, starting of COVID, and many of us were saying why this is happening, people are suffering. And I think we touched something now. It's a good reminder, Brother Sai Satish, that yes, everything is him, everything is happening, feel the pain, whatever you can do is, but don't get afflicted by that too much that you start questioning the happening, why it's happening. It's all the creators has created if you don't have any control over that.
Thank you. Thank you, sister.
Arun, in the previous 2 lines,
Yes.
Anniti endu nene unnananu bhavamunu, sarvabhutamalu nayande yunnavani ekatwamunu పొందువాడు అన్ని యోగములను సాధించును. అట్టివానికి పరులనియో పరమాత్మనియో భేదము లేకుండరు. ఇతరుల సుఖములు తనివిగా భావించును. ఇతర హృదయములను బాధింప చేయక సర్వలను సర్వేశ్వర భావమును ప్రేమించును. So those 3 lines, I think, ekatvam, oneness, that's what the feeling of oneness, that's all in you. Yeah, when somebody is in grief or somebody is in joy, we also feel the same thing. But as you said, when we are one with that Lord, these things will not bother us, joy or grief. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa also had the same experience when he was suffering from cancer. One of his disciples came and, are you suffering? Are you going through a lot of pain? So yeah, I can't swallow, I can't eat. He said first, and then, but you seem to be in great bliss, he said to Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Then he said, yeah, you got it. You got it. You found out how I'm blissful. So the same thing.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sarah, Uncle. I think Swami doesn't mention this phrase in this paragraph, but I think in the verse, because it's referring to, I think, 6.17, 6.17, this verse, where Krishna is talking about not eating too much, not sleeping too much. And then he also says you have to be balanced in work or in karma. So I was wondering, what does that mean in terms of like even our work? We have to be balanced in our work.
So this, you're referring to the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6?
Yeah, 6th chapter she is referring. Dhyana Yoga.
Which number is it?
6.17, 17.
Okay. Yuktahara viharasya chestasya karmasu yukta swapna vabodasya yogo bhavati dukkha. So you are, I think, karmasu, in moderate in action, isn't it? Yukta chestasya karmasu. Ishtasya karmasu. So because sometimes action, the way I see it, Kalyani, just the way sometimes we like to eat more, sometimes we engage in certain actions more. So it becomes that the action itself can become an addiction. Okay, so that's what Swami says, so we have to, any of them, we should not overdo. We should not become a workaholic. I think that's what Swami is referring to, is my understanding in the Gita. I hope anyone else who would like to share any thoughts?
We are realizing now Bhagawan already told us work-life balance.
Yeah, sometimes you feel guilty for trying to, for not working more. I think this is the culture here, but
That's what I'm saying. So I'm already told, we're discovering now, right now. What is a balanced life to know?
I think the sister, what Swami is talking here is work sadhana balance. Because, not work life. Because
I know.
It's also work. So I think the way Swami looks at it is work and sadhana balance. Okay.
So we were talking about this in the other study circle, but like when Swami says you have to work 10 times as hard to earn every single dollar that you make, like for that $1 that you earn, you should work 10 times as hard.
Really?
Doesn't necessarily mean does it mean that you shouldn't necessarily have to stay late? And
I think the key is, Kalyani, is we should not earn more. Okay. For every dollar we earn, we have to work hard. That is true. But Swami never said earn more. Whatever you're earning, for that you have to put out effort. I think that's what my understanding is. I hope that clarifies. Because then the work will become more and more if you want to earn more and more. So I think that's... See, Swami is tackling every single aspect of our life through this Bhagavad Gita, so that we don't fool ourselves. So going back to this Ekantavasa, as Auntie was telling, it's oneness. That is also a different Ekantavasa. We see the entire world as one. That is also solitude. Because you are united with that oneness. Then there's no other. I think that's what Swami said. Parulu, there's no concept of others or even Paramatma. This is the supreme, Swami already said they are supreme yogis. It aspire towards that. I think that's a different concept of Ekantavasa also.
What is the meaning of the anta there, the ekanta? Or is it just one word that just means one? Or does it mean like the end or something like that? Or?
One end. So you can say one end, but anta also can be inner something within you, oneness in you. Okay, so I think
like that antar bahishya tat sarvam yape narayana kind of.
The word anta is, by itself locked. Go within. When you go within, you are on one. So you cannot be one when you are outside. You can only become one when you go in. When you go out, you become many. So ekanta. So go within and reside with that oneness which is within you. So I think something of that sort. So if follow okay, maybe we will just move on to the next slide.
Yeah.
Just a question, just the flame in the windowsill, even if there's no wind coming in and out, the flame will still flicker sometimes. I wonder why Swami Krishna gave that example.
Very good question, Kalyani. Maybe I will ask anyone to comment on why is the windowsill?
That means, so you don't see any movements there. So same thing, if anything in your life, joy or sorrow happens, or anything, the mind's supposed to be always supposed to be steady, like that plane. Is my understanding, brother.
Okay, brother, thank you.
In Telugu, Swami is saying, Gali leni sthanamuna, chittamu gali leni sthanamuna deepamu undinatlu nischalamuga undavalenu. Gali leni sthanamuna. There is no wind there, but still the flame, Kalesh's question is flame flickers.
No, where is the windowsill? I think her question is windowsill.
Window is not here. Gali leni sthanamu, Swami has written, that's all.
Gali means?
Gali means wind, ma.
Oh,
wind.
okay.
Where there is no wind. He simply says sthana. Sthana is a place, but he doesn't mention that it's windowsill. You know why it has been translated like this? We keep that diya, that lamp in a place, you know. In those days, always we used to keep it in a window which is closed completely, and in that window, that there is a small platform, like, you know, there we used to keep the flame, that lamp. That's why he's translated as. But specifically, Swami did not say that. Swami has said that it's a gali leni sthanam, where there is no wind.
But even if you put a lamp in a place where there's no wind, the flame will still sometimes flicker and move. So it's not necessarily always steady, is it?
So your question is, the flame will always flicker whether there's no wind? I think
even with, yeah.
So flickering is happening with the wind only. Yeah, if there is no wind, that flame is supposed to be steady.
I think we had to do an experiment.
That experiment we have to do.
I think, Kalyani, the question is, flame has some sort of a movement.
Movement is.
But it's very, very subtle when there's no wind. Because I think the reality is when a flame is burning, that itself by nature creates some disturbance around it. Okay, and that's reality. But to a great extent, it will be steady. It will not be the flame which is exposed to wind. I think that's where we should. The reality is the mind is always going to move a little bit. Okay, that's its nature. But how much it moves, where it moves, how far, and volatile it is, I think that's what matters. Because I think they have used the word windowsill, because the reality is the mind is caught between outside and inside. Mind itself is a windowsill. In the sense, external influence also, mind is the one which is exposed to. Inside also, that is what is exposed to. So mind is at the, it's a crossover place. It's somewhere in the middle. That's the reality of mind. So it is going to be, it's going to react to inputs, but it should not get shaken up. I think that's the way I understand. I will ask others.
Brother, just to add to what you're saying, as the real nature of mind is it will waver irrespective. So the first step to control the mind, what we have learned from this is control your senses, and then you will control your mind. And if you reach to the level you controlling your mind 100%, it will waver, and that's why continuous discipline. It doesn't mean that you give up your sadhana or discipline. Hey, now mind is under control. It will waver. There will be moments when it will. So continuous sadhana, discipline will help you to be intact with where you are and stay at that state of mind. That's what I am understanding.
Thank you, sister. Okay, if everyone is okay, we can move on.
Meanwhile, Arjuna is beset by doubt, and he asks for some elucidation and explanation so that he may get convinced. Krishna, all that you have been telling me is very pleasant to the ear, and I can well imagine that it must be a source of ananda to those who attain success. But it is so difficult, beyond the reach of all. The yoga wherein everything has to be realized as equal, samatvam, is fraught with obstacles, even for the fully equipped sadhaka. What then am I to say for people like me, who are common aspirants? Is it ever possible for us? Krishna, is the mind so easily controllable? Alas, even an elephant cannot drag as the mind does. It is the nursery of waywardness. Its mulishness and obstinacy are also very powerful. It is a terrible shrew. It can never be caught. It will never halt at one place. It is like capturing the wind or bundling up water. The attempt to catch the mind and tame it. How can anyone enter upon yoga with such a mind? One seems as hard as the other, the twin tasks of controlling the mind and practicing the yoga. Krishna, you are advising an impossible task, beyond the capacity of anyone.
Yeah. I think everyone will be relieved that, that Arjuna asked this question. Does anyone have something to say, or should we read on the next slide? And
Chanchalam hi manam Krishna. After listening to Krishna so much advice from Arjuna, Krishna advises Arjuna. Arjuna says, whatever you say, it's okay. But mind is such that, he uses very strong language here.
Yes.
Krishna. Dani palam yenugalu kuda ledu. Even elephants don't have that kind of strength. Dani chanchalatvamu puttina illu. It is inherent, the chanchalam, that waywardness is its nature. Pettina peru danike chellunu. Ini dani kshoba bala chala balamainadi, gattidainadi. Parama gayyali. Swami is saying, it's terrible shrew. Shrew is Parama gayyali.
People are going to object to that now.
What is the meaning?
Gayali is shrew. Taming the shrew is so difficult,
I have to look up shrew. What does it mean to be a shrew? Sorry, I don't know. Oh, a woman with a bad temper?
Who knows the shrew?
Google says a woman with a bad temper.
Yeah.
Very bad temper.
I said people are going to object to Swami's comment now.
Sai Ram, I don't know.
Yes, Auntie.
I am so happy Arjuna is on our side. He is speaking on our behalf.
Yes, correct. Mind is such that it is so wayward. Always everything.
The shrew is a nagging person. Let's put it that way and leave it at that.
Okay.
Let's not get into the gender part, but because the mind is something which pesters, keeps on asking for this or that, and I think that's what Swami is.
No, you're being shrewd.
I mean, shrewd or shrewd?
True, he said.
Because I want to, because sometimes we, it becomes not a, politically, incorrect to say certain things.
That's right.
In today's world, So I'm trying to avoid such discussions.
You are very smart, Arun. Not commenting upon.
No, I just want to avoid, debates of that kind.
Correct.
But Swami is basically anyone, the tendency to nag and, trouble is what Swami is saying. The mind is always capable of doing that. I think maybe you will read the next, because this all, we're all very happy that Arjuna has
asking this question.
So let's, I think no one has any doubts here.
He's thinking like a common man like us, right?
This familiar territory. So we will
Yeah.
keep it's okay, Kalyani.
This is like an exam, like we write an exam and we will doubt ourselves, and then we find out the smarter person than you was going through the same thing, and you are happy that, okay, so I'm not that bad.
That's right, brother.
The Lord broke into a smile on hearing these words. Arjuna, you have described the mind and its known nature and known its nature very well. But it is not an impossible task. The mind can be mastered, however difficult the task might be. By systematic practice, abhyasa, and by relentless inquiry, vichara, and detachment, vairagya, the mind can be mastered. There is no task that cannot be accomplished by steady practice. Place faith in the Lord and practice with a certainty that you have the power and the grace, and all tasks become easy. Therefore, whoever enters upon this sadhana with determination will attain the supreme goal, available only for souls transmuted through several births. Remember, the person who has achieved yoga is superior to the person who is the master of ritual karma. So strive, O Arjuna, to become a yogi, to attain that high and holy status. But this is not all you have to do. There is a status even higher than this. Whoever fixes his entire consciousness in me, whoever earnestly meditates on me, to the exclusion of everything else, he is superior to all. He is a Mahayogi.
Swami has gone to Manmana Bhava, which is his favorite shloka. But anyone has something to discuss about Swami's encouragement and pep talk of sorts?
No, I'm just reminded of Swami always, you had once mentioned about how Swami was asking, and even during our times, are the boys thinking of me? Or in the context of even Kasturi Garu, how towards the last few days of his physical sojourn, Swami was telling him to continuously think of Swami. So I think while the rest of the thing is always there of abhyasa, vichara, vairagya, and all of that, I think that last part, I was feeling that Swami is giving it that if you can just keep continuously thinking of me and basically being Swami centered always, then that is the highest kind of a thing. So just wanted to share that.
Thank you. Thank you, Sai. Maya Sakta Mana. That's where chapter 7 starts. Thinking of the Lord always. And Swami has given, the Abhyasa, Vichara, Vairagya, this. So I think a couple of things which is in God's grace, we need to know that is always there to help us. We should not forget. I think number 2, he also wants us to know that we ourselves are Atman, which is powerful than the mind. It's just that we have not trained the mind. Abhyasa, Vichara, Vairagya. Yes, Brother Dasan, please go ahead.
Yes, hi, brother. So here, that mind is the issue. So, because as in nature, the mind always goes outwardly with the help of the 5 senses. But if you do the task, proper task and spiritual sadhanas and everything, you can turn the mind to inwardly. How that little baby started to drink milk and eventually it eat the solid food. Same way, by the practice only. For during the practice time, it doesn't like the solid food, but eventually it wants the solid food. Same way, we have to train that mind. Then whoever the mind is invertedly goes towards the Atma and everything. That's what Swami is saying is going to be the equivalent to him and something like that. So Swami explaining here. Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you very much.
When he is telling Arjuna to be a yogi, is he referring to a karma yogi, or like to do karma yoga, or what kind of, or dhyana yoga? Or what kind of yogi is he referring to?
A good question, Kalyani. Anyone would like to comment on this?
Yeah, in my understanding, brother, yogi means merge with the Lord, yeah? So if you want to be merged with the Lord, then you have to do whatever the spiritual sadhana is listed here. Thank you.
Thank you.
My understanding is, based on what we have read in the last couple of weeks, is Bhagawan is emphasizing the importance of the action, that you can't sit down. And I think that's what Arjuna was in the state of giving up, that I don't need to do anything. And that's where Bhagawan is saying, no, you need to do the karma. Yogi is like, surrender your act and the fruit to me. Don't worry, it's you who's doing it or the result. So my understanding is he's emphasizing a lot on the karma, to be a karma yogi, nishkam karma. So, yeah.
Thank you, sister. Kalyani, Swami, if you look at the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 46, that's where that's what Swami is explaining here. He says, tapasvibhyo dhiko yogi. So the yogi is greater than the tapasvis. Jnanibhyopi mato adhikaha. So the jnanis are greater than that. Karmabhyadhichadiko yogi. So again, Swami is talking about karma yogi there. Then tasmat yogi bhavarjuna. Therefore, you be a yogi. So as I think Prabhupada Dasan has already said, one who is with the Lord, united with the Lord. And Swami is further explaining that in Bhagavad Gita, verse 47 of chapter 6. Yoginavapi sarvesham mat gatenantaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yo mam same yuktatamo mata. So he's telling, of all yogis, he who worships me with unshakable faith, him I prefer the most. So it's there. So because of that, the word yogi is one who is united with the Lord. Yes, I think it's just what Brother Dasan was mentioning. Because there is no adjective for that yogi. It's not karma, it's not jnani, it's one who is united with the Lord.
Either in Telugu, Swami is saying, Etti Ghanakaryamulainanu Bhagavantunipai Bharamu Vaichi Atma Vishwasamato Abhyasamu Salpina Anniyo Sadinchochuno. Kanuka Dikshato Yevudu E Yogamunu Sadinchuno Attivadu Bhujanma Paripakamana Samasta Dosha Rahitudai Paramasiddhini Pondudu. Attivadu Tapovantuల కంటే జ్ఞానవంతుల కంటే కర్మనిష్టల కంటే గొప్పవాడు యోగి సిద్ధుడు.
So Swami has basically explained that verse.
But that was completely in Telugu. Yes, he said that.
Yeah.
Here it is not the karma yoga which Swami is insisting on.
Yes.
Of course, after doing karma yoga and dhyana yoga, only you reach that stage.
Yeah.
So, Sairam brother, you mentioned that there is 8 yoga practice that we can merge with the Lord. The karma yoga is one of that one. Am I right, brother?
Yeah, I think Swami has taken it has to be the foundation, brother. Everything springs from there.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I understand. But just what in Auntie we were discussing a little earlier that he has listed so many yogas, so many types of karma yogas also. It's about 4:27.
Yeah, I think we should discuss next week again this particular.
We should practice moderation, as Swami has said.
Yeah.
So we will come back and I think we can contemplate on whatever we have missed, and we can come back and continue from where we left off.
Okay.
If there are any last minute comments where anyone wants to share, you can share. Otherwise, we'll close with Samastaloka. Okay, we'll close with Samastaloka then, Saira. Om Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Hari Om.
Jai Saira.
Sairam.
Sairam. Thanks to all. Welcome back, Brother Aruna.
Yeah, thanks.